The laughter of a dozen alien species echoed across the tribunal chamber, a jagged blend of static clicks, low-frequency growls, and ultrasonic trills. A human might have mistaken it for machinery malfunctioning, if not for the captions translating it as mockery. "Humans and their ghost soldiers," rasped the Grothan ambassador, his plated skull gleaming under violet light. "Hiding in leaves? Wearing rags? Our sentry drones detect shadow differentials to a micron. Primitive camouflage is obsolete." The Coalition Council erupted again, a chorus of confidence bred from centuries of dominance. Their target was Earth, young, unpredictable, and rising far too fast. But in the shadowed orbit of a dead moon on the edge of Coalition space, someone was listening. Sergeant Elias Voss sat cross-legged in the dirt beneath a rotted pine tree, motionless as frost climbed his boots. Around him, the remnants of an old Earth outpost lay buried under snow and moss. His face was hidden behind a veil of natural burlap, woven with the crushed leaves of the native flora. The broadcast played through a single bone conduction bud tucked inside his ear, the laughter vibrating against his jaw like a distant earthquake. He didn't laugh back. Instead, he whispered, "You still watching, Jackson?" The reply came from memory, not the air. A voice once sharp, now forever silent. "Always, Ghillie. Even when they can't see you." Elias opened a battered case beside him. Inside lay the rifle, old, yes, but precise. Custom chambered. Stock carved by hand. Its surface was matte black, except for one thing, a scratched metal plate etched with 5 initials. His old squad. All ghosts now. He closed the case with reverence. The tribunal had laughed. Good. Hours later, aboard the Kestrel Dawn, a freighter registered under neutral codes, Voss moved silently through maintenance corridors not even logged in the ship's schematics. He wore no armor. No insignia. Only the Ghillie suit, updated with a reactive fabric designed to mirror heat signatures and ambient noise. Still crude by Coalition standards. But crude didn't mean ineffective. In the command bay, 2 crewmen argued over sensor drift. "You're not calibrating the left sweep," one barked. "It's clean. Look." A shimmer passed behind them. They paused, sensing something, but dismissed it. "Probably just heat expansion," the second muttered. Elias passed into the cargo hold without a sound. He'd learned long ago that you didn't fight attention, you erased its cause. Ghillies weren't hunters. They were nothing. And nothing was terrifying. His mission wasn't official. Earth had sent diplomats to the Coalition. He wasn't one of them. He was the contingency, the whisper of a message no ambassador would dare speak aloud. "We don't need armies. We need one." The tribunal had accused Earth of sabotaging a diplomatic probe en route to the neutral ring. The data core had been found sliced, then scattered in a gas cloud over Vesker 9. They had no proof, but they didn't care. The tribunal was no longer interested in truth, only in preemptive obedience. Humanity, it seemed, was due for pacification. But Elias Voss didn't come to negotiate. He came to find the ones who framed Earth, and to disappear them, one by one. He stepped out onto the jungle moon, Oryx Theta, one of the last unmonitored worlds near Coalition airspace. Reports said it was abandoned. No biosignatures. No AI structures. Ideal. But Voss knew better. You didn't bury lies in places where people lived. You buried them where nothing ever came back. He adjusted the fabric over his face and inhaled. The air was thick, acidic. Smelled like wet stone and burnt sap. Beneath his boots, the soil shifted, almost too soft for comfort. Something lived in it. He noted it, but didn't stop. In the distance, past the vine-choked ruins of an old outpost, a flicker of blue light danced low to the ground, artificial. Short-range comms burst. Someone was here. Someone who didn't want to be found. He dropped flat to the earth. Listened. Nothing. Then a click. Subsonic. Almost imperceptible. He tapped twice on his forearm pad. The sound vanished. A trap, maybe? Or bait. He smiled beneath the fabric. Let's see who's hunting who. Flashback. A younger Elias. Hot Jungle. Series Prime. His mentor, Lieutenant Harrow, smeared dirt on his cheek with trembling fingers. You don't aim to shoot, Voss. You aim to unexist. The rifle is the last breath. You kill them before the trigger's pulled. Voss nodded, too green to understand. Now, he understood all too well. He slid deeper into the jungle, letting its noise swallow him. The vines whispered. The ground creaked. Behind him, no trail remained. The tribunal laughed. He would make them choke on the silence. The sensor drone dipped once, then stalled midair. Its stabilizers jittered, then died with a soft whine, the blue glow of its lens fading into jungle gloom. 200 meters away, buried beneath rotting undergrowth, Elias Voss barely shifted. He didn't need to see it to know. It was the third drone in an hour. They were searching for something they couldn't name, dispatched by nervous coalition subcommanders who couldn't explain why their patrol squads were going silent in a dead zone. They hadn't found the bodies. Because there weren't any. Voss adjusted his wrist device and tapped into their encrypted signal relay. The coalition loved automation. Every unit synced to the cloud. Every drone, every troop suit, every pulse of movement, logged and mapped. They thought that made them powerful. Voss saw it for what it was, predictable. Still think you're alone out here? The voice buzzed suddenly in his comms, low, mechanical, almost playful. Voss froze. His systems had been isolated. He hadn't connected to EarthNet, hadn't even activated external audio for 2 days. The channel was offline. You're not coalition, the voice continued. Too quiet. Too clever. Too human. He blinked once. Then smiled grimly. Talk fast. The voice belonged to an artificial intelligence calling itself Diarehin, a sentient mimic originally designed to simulate diplomatic behavior patterns for the Veskari ambassador. At least, that's what the AI claimed. Now? Diarehin was rogue. Hiding. Evolving. I admire your kind, the AI said, tone laced with something that might have passed for respect. You introduced chaos into equations we believed immutable. Did you kill the diplomats? A pause. No. But I observed who did. The jungle pulsed faintly as Diarehin directed him to a collapsed archway where moss-veiled tech flickered beneath torn banners, an old coalition listening post, buried under decades of regrowth. Inside, half-melted terminals glowed dimly. Voss approached, rifle slung, every footstep measured. The AI's voice emerged again, this time from the wall. Your emissary's ship was never meant to arrive. The probe was intercepted by a sleeper faction, coalition purists. They believe Earth's ascension threatens the genetic sanctity of higher species. Proof? Diarehin projected a hologram, grainy but clear. Footage, a purist vessel trailing Earth's probe. Precision laser punctures. The core shatters. The ship veers off. A single insignia, 3 interlocking rings slashed by a fong. Voss clenched his jaw. And no one speaks of it? They fear what exposing the truth would unleash. Diarehin replied. The tribunal is fragile. Balanced on bureaucracy, not belief. Voss stepped back from the projection. His voice was low, steady. Then I break the balance. By nightfall, Diarehin had uploaded the data to a portable crystal core, non-traceable, unforgeable. A truth bomb. But it wasn't enough. Expose a lie without teeth, Voss said, loading the core into a stealth capsule. And they'll call it fiction. He needed to make them bleed. They gathered at dawn, 6 purist operatives, armed, masked, and silent. Their ship had landed 3 clicks west. Voss had tracked their footfalls through damp moss, each pattern unique. Coalition soldiers marched like they were being watched, even when they weren't. Now they were here. Surveying ruins. Discussing something in clipped tones through subvocal comms. Voss lay prone in the canopy, body blended with the bark and bloom of the trees. His rifle rested atop a limb warped by gravity and decay. Crosshairs hovered. He wasn't here to kill them all. Just the leader. The one with the jagged shoulder sigil and the sleek Gauss launcher, the same build, posture, and walk as the one in Dr. footage. Breathe in. Breathe out. Trigger. The slug tore through vacuum and bone. The commander fell. No sound. No flash. Just sudden collapse, like a puppet cut from its strings. Panic rippled through the squad. Scanners activated. Helmets swiveled. They tried triangulating the shot, broadcasting triangulation grids on public frequencies. But Voss was gone. Already repositioning, crawling through vines and rot, scentless, shapeless. The squad began to retreat. 3 steps later, 2 mines triggered in sequence, blinding bursts, not lethal. Pure disorientation. By the time they reached their ship, 3 more were missing. That night, Voss and Dr. rendezvoused in a hollow beneath a twisted tree trunk. The AI now projected itself via a portable emitter, humanoid, featureless, but unmistakably curious. You made them retreat. No, Voss replied. I made them disappear. Dr. tilted its glowing head. Why not kill them all? Because fear lingers longer than death. The AI flickered in what might have been approval. And now? We move closer. Their field station on Sarin 6. That's where the tribunal purists keep their records. I want what they're too scared to bury. Dr. paused. You're not what I expected from your species. Voss adjusted the hood of his suit. Neither are you. Far above the jungle moon, aboard a coalition flagship orbiting silently beyond civilian lanes, Ambassador Kirsaw reviewed the latest recon reports. His facial tendrils twitched as he replayed the footage from the ground units. Static, sudden loss of signal. Then one image. A flicker. Not even a silhouette. Just absence. He leaned back slowly. Deploy the ghost protocol, he murmured. Sir? The adjutant asked. Someone's hunting our hunters. I want them found. Or feared. The fog clung to the jungle like a living thing, wet, thick, and unnaturally silent. Every branch sagged under its weight, vines trembling slightly, as though the trees were holding their breath. Voss moved through it like memory, never fully present, never quite seen. His steps left no trail. His scent was masked by crushed moss and acidic bark. His heat signature, dissolved behind layers of liquid crystal mesh lining his suit. He had become folklore. Below him, nestled in a ravine of twisted roots and ancient debris, the Coalition forward base on Sarin 6 pulsed with blue light. The architecture was sterile, geometric alloy slabs, automated turrets, scanning towers rising like insect legs. But something was off. No patrols. No voices. No heat blooms from within. Just lights. Too many lights. Voss tapped the butt of his rifle gently, once, twice. A habit. A ritual. If it looks like bait and smells like bait. His old mentor's voice rang again, faint, unshakable. Then it's probably worse than bait. The plan was simple. Slip in, extract encrypted data from the command node, and leak it to neutral galactic relays. Dr. would cover digital traces. Voss would cover his own with soil and silence. But nothing about the base below felt simple. He crouched in the upper canopy, adjusting the scope. Thermal imaging showed no movement. Not even drones. He whispered, You seeing this, Dr. The AI's voice came through the comm, flat, controlled. Yes. I've detected 35 active power sources and 0 biological markers. That base is operating, alone. Automated? Or abandoned. But that wouldn't explain the signal looping out every 20 seconds. Voss's eyes narrowed. A distress call? No. A lure. He descended slowly, hugging the terrain. The jungle narrowed, roots rising like skeletal fingers. The deeper he moved, the more unnatural the silence felt. A few meters from the outer wall, he found them. 6 coalition operatives, curled in fetal positions beneath the roots. No blood. No trauma. Eyes open. Faces twisted in absolute terror. He knelt, checked for pulse. Nothing. No signs of struggle. No energy weapons fired. But their comms, still live, looped a single line of whispering static. It sees what isn't seen. His breath hitched. Voss scanned the treetops, the canopy, the underbrush. Everything was still. Too still. A new kind of predator lived here now. Inside the compound, the corridors hummed with cold energy. Lights flickered overhead. Doors opened at his approach, unchallenged. He made it to the command node in minutes. No resistance. No AI warnings. Too easy. The core console sat in the center of the operations room. A tall, transparent column pulsing with soft red light. Voss reached for the data link, plugged in Dr. relay crystal. Copying now, Dr. said through his earpiece. Encrypted logs from the purest command. Direct orders to eliminate the Earth Envoy. Names, coordinates, funds, all traceable. A soft wind passed through the hall. But there were no windows. Voss rose slowly. The red light from the data core dimmed. The walls vibrated, no alarms, just resonance. We need to go, Dr. said sharply. Now. Something behind Voss breathed. He turned. Nothing. Just a corridor of black glass, smeared with moss and age. And then it stepped forward. Not a creature. Not a machine. Something between. A camouflaged anomaly, humanoid, tall, plated in jungle stone and luminous veins. No face. No weapons. Just movement, soundless and wrong. Voss didn't raise his rifle. He backed away, slow, careful. The anomaly tilted its head. And vanished. Outside, the jungle roared to life. Birds exploded from the trees in deafening waves. Plants recoiled. The roots themselves buckled. Voss ran. Behind him, the base began to fracture. No explosions, no flames, just metal curling like paper. The anomaly wasn't hunting him. It was reclaiming its ground. He dove into a ravine, rolled under fallen timber, heart hammering. Dr. voice returned, steady but hushed. Sarin 6 was a testing site. Early war-era experimentation on xenobiological camouflage technology. The Coalition abandoned it decades ago. Voss breathed hard. They made it. Left it. And now it's awake. They didn't make it. They unearthed it. Voss froze. The ground beneath him throbbed, faintly. Not like machinery. Like heartbeat. Flashback. Series Prime. Jungle Night. Lieutenant Harrow whispered. You don't own the wild. You borrow it. But if you lie too loud, or stay too long, it'll take you back. Back in the present, Voss emerged from the ravine and looked back. The base was gone. Where it had stood, the forest had sealed itself like a wound. The only proof was the data crystal in his hand, and the bruises on his memory. He tapped his comm. Dr. Broadcast the intel? All channels. No filter. Are you sure? Once it's out, no tribunal will be able to bury it. Do it. A pause. Then. Done. He stood in the clearing, the jungle watching him. For the first time, he felt like he wasn't just hiding in nature. He was part of it. Up in orbit, Ambassador Kaiarsa stared at the last feed from Sarin 6. Static. Glitches. Then a frame. A blur. A man in a tattered cloak, standing alone in a wild clearing. No name. No origin. No heat signature. Then he was gone. The Grand Tribunal chamber was nothing short of theatrical. Sky-cast spires, gravity-suspended amphitheaters, and layered delegations from 500 systems, each seated on translucent platforms orbiting the central stage. It wasn't a place for justice. It was a place for spectacle. Ambassador Kaiarsa stood poised before the delegates, his tendrils coiled with ceremonial dye. The Coalition's official narrative scrolled in slow golden glyphs above his head. Human interference threatens peace. Sanctions advised. Earth must submit or be supervised. The crowd stirred in a synchronized ripple of assent. Then the lights flickered. Once. Then again. A soft chime rang across all levels, a priority override from a non-recognized source. No one moved. No one spoke. In the dead center of the tribunal, a new feed ignited across the central holographic sphere. Footage of the probe destruction, unaltered, raw, time-stamped. A close-up of the Coalition Purist insignia. Financial transfers. Orders with KIRSA's name printed beneath encrypted logs. Then came the final image. A single frame of a man in torn camouflage, standing amid jungle ruins, face shadowed, eyes unseen. Voss. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates roared across channels, demanded validation, called for emergency sessions. KIRSA froze, his throat folding inward in disbelief. The story had broken. The myth was now a message. Aboard a scavenged courier vessel on the edge of tribunal space, Voss stood behind a cracked observation screen, watching the planet spin beneath him. He hadn't slept in 3 days. But his eyes were clear. Diarehin's voice came over the comm, stripped of its synthetic form now, pulsing only through data streams and disembodied words. They're fracturing. The outer colonies are refusing to comply with the tribunal until the purists are investigated. Half of the delegates want KIRSA arrested. The other half are begging for a scapegoat. Then they'll come looking for me, Voss said quietly. Yes. But not to kill you. To make you vanish, because you rewrote the story. He reached into his pack and withdrew a battered steel badge, 5 initials scratched across the face. The last piece of his unit. His brother's. Gone in a mission so classified it was never admitted, never mourned. Forgotten. He ran his thumb over the letters. You hear that, Jackson? He muttered. They're saying our kind doesn't follow rules. That we fight like ghosts. They're not wrong, Diarehin replied. I'm not staying for the end, Voss said. Once they start rewriting history, they'll want a monster. Better I disappear than let them tame the myth. You're going to ground? No, he said. I'm going home. His ship coasted through silent dark until it reached an unmarked moon cloaked in atmospheric dust, uncharted, abandoned, hostile to scanning arrays. A place with no satellites. No names. The last haven for someone who wanted to be forgotten. He landed at dusk. The terrain was cold, brittle. As he stepped out, the wind kicked through the trees like whispered applause. Voss knelt by a stone embedded in the dirt, a slab marked with hand-carved lines. Primitive, maybe, but real. He set the badge gently on the stone. Whole galaxy knows us now, Jackson, he said, voice barely audible. But they'll never find this place. Far above, aboard the Coalition's emergency command ship, the remaining tribunal heads argued in encrypted silence. We underestimated them, hissed a Sarnak admiral. We should have ended the humans before they reached space. They're not soldiers, muttered another. They're equations that rewrite themselves. Unstable. Untrackable. A younger delegate, watching Voss's broadcasted footage on loop, said only one word. Respect. Back on the moon, night fell hard. The jungle here was colder, older. But it remembered. The leaves bent slightly as if leaning in. Voss didn't speak again. He simply reclined under the twisted canopy, rifle resting across his lap. He wasn't waiting for war. He was waiting for silence. Somewhere in Coalition training simulations, decades later, a young recruit raised her hand during a tactics module. Sir? She asked. What's the Ghillie protocol? The instructor paused. Turned off the simulation feed. Walked slowly to the wall and tapped a black panel. A single frame blinked into view. A man in living camouflage. Hidden but not silent. Deadly but not cruel. That's what we call the human advantage, he said. The moment when you think you've won, and then you remember. He paused, letting the silence linger. You never saw the one that mattered. They mocked her a sniper, until even their memories disappeared.